Welcome back to the artist way of chill. Welcome back. Yes. Could you please not? Am I going to I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you. I'm sorry. Maybe I can just put you there. Yeah, okay, that's better. Again, welcome back to the artist way. And we're at week 2, recovering a sense of identity. This week addresses self-definition as a major component of creative recovery. You may find yourself drawing new boundaries and staking out new territories as your personal needs, desires, and interests announce themselves. The essays and tools are aimed at moving you into your personal identity, a self-defined you. Yeah, this is a great chapter. I'm loving this book. It's starting with sense of safety and now going into identity. It's perfect. It's perfect. This chapter has been about getting to know yourself, right? And within getting to know yourself, you really have to think about what belief systems, what values, which things are important to me. So you have to consider which things did I pick up from my environment and which things that I choose as important to me, and that could be so different from your environment and people around you. And it doesn't have to be. You can also pick things that you were raised to value as well, of course. But it's important to know where it comes from. And within living life, you will meet a lot of people who are skeptical or people who ask a lot of energy from you. And in this chapter, it was all about seeing these people for what they are, acknowledging your friend groups and circles and the people you have around you, and the people you can let in within this process and the people you should avoid. But not only people, also activities that would harm this process, that would take your focus away from this process. For instance, what if you want to go on an artist date and someone wants your time or energy or wants to go with you? Sometimes it's hard to say no, right? But it's important to say no. So within this week, within this whole process, I have dedicated myself to hermit even more anyways. I moved to the countryside, to a little village in the Netherlands, so I wasn't planning on being all social anyways. And it really puts in perspective to which people I can go for advice and to which people I won't go for advice. And I already spoke about it in the last video. I look for a community and people around me on the same journey. So people who party and drink alcohol and stuff, I'm just not into that right now. I'm trying to figure out what's more to my identity than social settings have to offer. So let me start with some highlights. I like to think of the mind as a room. In that room, we keep all of our usual ideas about life, God, what's possible and what's not. The room has a door. That door is ever so slightly ajar, and outside we can see a great deal of dazzling light. Out there in the dazzling light are a lot of new ideas that we consider too far out for us, and so we keep them out there. The ideas we are comfortable with are in the room with us. The other ideas are out and we keep them out. Yeah, it's all about choosing, right? We choose what to believe. We choose what to focus on. We choose if something's positive or negative. We define everything. We define the world around us. in this age, the digital age, we see a lot of different lives and we see a lot of opportunities, and it is up to us to believe if that's possible for us or not. And sometimes we keep ourselves and our belief systems safe because we don't want to change the life we have. If we are attached to something and we want to have it and keep it the same way, then of course ideas that other people impose on us, it's dangerous, because change will happen when it becomes conscious. Another one, setting skepticism aside, even briefly, can make for very interesting explorations. Yeah, I'm not a skeptical person, but I have had a lot of skeptical people around me. I think in my life it has never been advantageous. When you grow up with things already being hard, it doesn't help to believe it could be even harder. I think I learned from a young age that it's important to be optimistic about things and to expect the best outcome instead of the worst. Of course, I was protecting myself as well in not having too high of expectations, but I never told myself things were impossible, because that would make me lose hope in life. It was so bad that skepticism would take away from me the last bit of hope I had. So I've always been optimistic about everything, because if not for change and for growth and for hope and faith, I would not be sitting here today. I made a TikTok about this. Sometimes the most dangerous thing, or the most dangerous place to be in, is where you're just comfortable, and where skepticism speaks in the way that things wouldn't get any better if you change, or things could become worse if you change, or if you decide to do something. What if you quit your job, right? What if you can't find a better opportunity? That's skepticism right there. That's the fear of you losing out on something. But that just tells me that you don't believe in your own power to make experiences good, that you don't see that change and growing as a person is beneficial anyways. It tells me that you are not able to focus on what's good. It tells me that you're not grateful. It tells me you're scared. Skepticism sucks. Fuck that. Just dare to dream, please. Another one of the highlights. More than anything else, creative recovery is an exercise in open-mindedness. Yeah, that's so true. Being creative. In this book, it's described as something spiritual, right? You being a vessel for God's work. I once heard that an idea or an invention or art, many people around the world will have that same idea. But for the idea to become tangible and physical, someone has to act on it. Someone has to flow through it. Someone has to feel into this idea and let it out, let it be there. And that's what art is as well. You have to be open to whatever comes to you, like a vessel. You have to be open to a stream of creativity flowing through you and just following its lead. I see it sometimes in like piano players, like John Baptiste. I really love to look at when he plays piano, because it looks like his fingers are playing the piano and he is a bystander and observing as well, and just listening to the sounds instead of like making it work. It's a practice to be more open-minded, and this open-mindedness also comes from not being the judge on what is created. It's about being an observer and a vessel. Yeah. Another one of the highlights by Minor White is, no matter how slow the film, Spirit always stands still long enough for the photographer it has chosen. Yes, that's a line, right? Another one of the quotes. My grandmother knew what a painful life had taught her. Success or failure, the truth of a life really has little to do with its quality. The quality of life is in proportion, always, to the capacity for delight. The capacity for delight is the gift of paying attention. And then later in the page, more than anything else, attention is an act of connection. You hear that a lot, right? People on their deathbed, or just people who have lived life already, they never speak about their achievements or failures, and I think most people fear the feeling of regret. And I think the feeling of regret always comes from missing out. And this missing out comes from not paying attention, not living in the now. We are here to live a human experience. And of course there are multiple sides to this. Being a human, you live in the head as well, but we live on this earth. The quality of life is in proportion, always, to the capacity for delight. I'd say that's true. In the beginning of my life, I have experienced a lot of negative and tough emotions, a lot of darkness, and because I have been through that, I think I can experience a lot of bliss and delight as well, because putting it all in perspective helps. It just makes any tiny little moment and thing so delightful. Because if you were to make your life better by chasing happiness, you will be so disappointed, because most of life is just mundane, right? And when you go through a lot of hardship, you learn it's not bliss and ecstasy you're looking for, it's peace you're looking for, and peace you find in the mundane. You will be so delighted by just sitting in nature. And then the moments of ecstasy and happiness, you can appreciate those as well, because you know the other side of it. And then of course it's not about ignoring hardships for the rest of your life either. When you find that peace within the mundane, and you understand that the whole spectrum exists, you know you can hold yourself in any point of that spectrum. The capacity for delight is the gift of paying attention. Anything can be delightful, but you have to notice it. So going through life and being on automatic pilot, you sometimes forget to just pay attention to the now. And then life starts feeling like this slur. I don't know if that's a word in English. And this one I already mentioned. Remember that it is my job to do the work, not judge the work. That's so true. I think a lot of my life I have been my own critic, right? Also in this Western system, we are taught to go for perfection and learn and do as much as you can, and more and more and better and better. And in our school system, we are also being judged and critiqued by our achievements, by the results. So it is really logical that we as kids already adopted this, to be our own critic, to be our own judge. Even art classes we were, now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of weird, right? That even within art classes we were being judged by grades. Like, how can you judge a painting with a grade. it's kind of weird to me. Shouldn't art be judged or critiqued by the way it impacts people? I would feel like art is here to be experienced, right? Not to be graded. Yeah, the school system, I can't even take it serious anymore, as you can see. I haven't taken it serious for years now because I have seen how unfairly it treats people, and it's heartbreaking to see it break children, break their sense of identity, because it doesn't work for the school system for them to be them. And I went to school till I was 18 and then I dropped out. When I will be blessed to have children and to raise them, I will not be sending them to the system that still exists to this day. Of course, we have to be very grateful to even have education. Yes, it's not far away in my family lineage that people were illiterate. It's really close by, to be fucking honest. So I am so grateful for me to be able to read and to write. But nowadays, in this world that we're living in, we need for our kids to be adaptable. If you're adaptable in this day and age, you can get ahead. And if you learn to play by the rules, if you learn to become an employee, if you learn to become a worker, that's all you'll ever be. You'll be shaped in this system nowadays. I could talk about this topic for hours, so I'm gonna quit here. I just hope that if you want to choose a school or study or an education, really understand your reasoning for it. For a lot of professions out there, we need education to become a professional and have the expertise. It is crucial. But don't just choose an education because you feel like you have to. And also don't do it because you don't want to work yet. It will send you in a direction, and beforehand you may not be aware of it. But if you're not really behind to becoming the person that it makes you, don't put yourself through the stress and the workload, and financially it's not easy either. Yeah, but good luck if you're a student. A little exercise I had to do, which I haven't done yet, but I will, is place a sign in my workplace that says, "Great Creator." I will take care of the quantity, you take care of the quality. And I've been doing this. My one TikTok a day has expanded to sometimes 2 or now even 3 TikToks a day, because I have been content farming. I learned that from a YouTuber, that from one YouTube video you can make multiple little TikToks, right? So it's perfect. And of course I didn't quit making other content either, with singing and writing and just trending audios and whatever. So the tasks. So the first task, affirmative reading. I had to read my affirmations again and feel which one triggers me still, and if I have any shifts within my attitude towards them. So as I create and listen, I will be led. Yeah, sure. I think I follow my intuition. I guess I still question, is it my intuition or is it not? I guess most people question that, especially if you have always listened to the voices of the world instead of yourself. The second one, my creativity heals myself and others. I am trying to cultivate the confidence that it will heal others. Like, of course, I have no proof yet, and it is my why, right, that I create and that I want to be an artist. I think going back to the emotional realm, the effect art has on people lies within feeling. So I think any art could help and heal anyone that stumbles upon it, and nothing is by coincidence, right? So I just keep on putting it out there, and I believe the right people will find it. The second task: where does your time go? List your 5 major activities this week. So my 5 major activities this week, or last week, were I spent a whole day in the city because in the morning I had a job interview. In the afternoon I just went to a cafe and edited YouTube videos because in the evening I was meeting up with an old friend, and this took the whole day being in the city, which was exhausting, but it's fine. The second major activity was my artist date. I went swimming for my artist date in a lake. I was just there for 4 hours, took a couple of swims, and just chilled in the sun, read The Artist Way, and it was really nice. It was really hot that day. Summer is starting here in the Netherlands, and it was 30 degrees out. It's now sometimes 20 degrees, sometimes 30 degrees, so yeah, the Netherlands be like. Another of my major activities was recording day. I like recording day though. The fourth one, hanging with my family, just because I live with my mom now, it happens daily. And also I went to my sister in another city, so that was fun. And the fifth one is editing. I spend a lot of time on editing. Every Sunday I am editing because I want to upload my YouTube video, and I procrastinate until my deadline is due. The question was, which one of these things were things other people imposed on you? No thing was. Also, hanging out with this old friend of mine was fun and wasn't really imposed on me. I really thought I wanted to do it, but it was an old friend, someone who knew me 5 years ago, being all depressed and rock bottomy, and I felt like the way I've changed and how I now dare to speak up about what I believe in and what I want for my life and just how I see the world. For the whole day it was just me over explaining. For me it's over explaining because this person really didn't understand me or where I was coming from, and this person really wanted to understand, so he kept asking questions and I kept explaining, but that's kind of exhausting. I would love some people around me who can inspire me and add some more to the conversation instead of just questioning my belief system, right? I think I deserve that. I love the people around me. I love my family and friends. I love them. But in this phase, it's important for me to not bring in any doubts in where I'm going, and especially not in where I'm at. I am consciously hermiting right now because I'm in the beginning of a new chapter of my life, and I am in the beginning of trying to form a lifestyle that works for me, which is different from the people I have had around me for years now. And so it's important to listen to my own intuition instead of outside noises and what is important for other people. And in some aspects of life, inspiration and motivation is welcome. For instance, in health and fitness. But advice on being able to travel and how to make a living off of that, I will not take advice from people who are not living that life. I can't take advice from people who are not living the life I want to live. It's that simple. And like I said, I still love them and I appreciate those people, but their perspective on it will probably be more skeptical than my own. And I am done over explaining myself. Task 3 was to write down 20 things I enjoy doing. And then task 4 was to choose 2 of those and make them as goals for the week. It was also important to note when last time was that I did those enjoyable things. For upcoming week, I'm gonna focus most on having more movement and exercise in my life. Like, I love sports, I love working out, I love to be active, but I need to have it in an enjoyable way. So I am not a gym girly. I tried and I could do it, but it's a bit too boring for me. I need more. So I like variety within my activities. I love to go boxing, I love to go swimming, I love to go bouldering, I love to just get a ball and play outside. So I wrote down those things, and I immediately WhatsApped a friend of mine to go bouldering this month, and next week I'm also going boxing, so that's perfect. Task 6 was to write down 5 more imaginary lives like I did last week, and the old ones were a singer, songwriter, performer, an actress, a writer or film producer, a therapist, and a lawyer. And the 5 I added this week is a gardener, a sports teacher, astrologer, a model, and a photographer. And to write these ones down is of course important to do something with it, so to focus a bit on what they are and to incorporate little things in daily life. And so I rewarded myself with singing lessons. I already sing, I think, every day, and I would love to get better at it and in performance and using my voice, and I think the confidence within singing will help in any aspect. And I could practice doing bits of acting because I've always been intrigued, but I've never really done anything with it. But now that I'm a content creator, I have the freedom to try anything, right? So maybe. So the new imaginary lives I have written down are really focused on the things I would like to expand in as well. I would like to see progression in as well. Every day I am thinking about starting to work on this garden, but also sports teacher. It would be so fun to be fit enough to lead a class doing whatever, Zumba or like water activities or Pilates or whatever, or just yoga. But I'm not even at the point that I do them for myself. So astrologer, yeah, I love astrology, and I was just thinking this morning that I could do readings for people and read their charts because I am able to, but lately I haven't really been doing a lot with it. So I take it as a sign to pick that up again. And model and photographer, well, yeah, I love for things to look good. I'm a Libra, so I love pictures, and I love looking at pictures, and I love taking pictures. I love to be in a place where pretty pictures can be taken, but I also love to be the muse, right? I like to look good as well. Task 8, tiny changes. I had to write down 10 tiny changes I would like to make, starting the sentence with I would like to. So I wrote down 10, and then I had to pick one of those to make a goal for the upcoming week. So I picked I would like to wake up earlier and have a morning, because I still don't have those. It will be my goal for this week to sleep at the latest 12 and wake up at 10. It's not that early in the morning either. Yeah, I'm judging myself for this one. Then the weekly check-ins. How many days this week did you do your morning pages? I did my morning pages. I did them 7 days, but I have to admit that one day I only wrote 1 page instead of 3, and this was also the only day that I had to be somewhere else, that I really had people waiting for me. This was the job interview. So it is noticeable that if I have to do things not for myself, I have a hard time living up to those expectations. And it's not like anyone else put them on me. It's my own expectation for myself. It's my own planning. But if it's not on my schedule, it's harder for me to keep my routines in. But this also has everything to do with the morning situation I still haven't figured out. How was the experience for me for morning pages last week? It was a fine experience. Most mornings I'm just venting, and almost every morning these are the same topics. I also saved some bits from my morning pages to explore even more, because I thought they were interesting subjects to elaborate on and to share. The second check-in: did you do your artist date this week? Remember, the artist dates are necessary. Frivolity. I don't know how to say that. Remember, the artist date are necessary. What did you do and how did it feel? So I went swimming and it felt amazing to be in water again. Oh my god. Were there any other issues this week that you consider significant for your recovery? Describe them. I think the recovery is going really well. Also the sense of identity. I have been focusing on that for years now as well, and I wrote a piece about it called I Take Up My Space and already posted it on TikTok. I didn't even realize it, but it's really in line with this chapter, because it's about acknowledging the construct I was born into and that not needing to define who I am today. I have been on this journey from people pleasing to forming a healthy ego, and I think within the spiritual community the word ego is really demonized, but it doesn't have to be. Every person has an ego, and I think there's a big difference between men and women in here as well, and it's fine, but it makes up for different kinds of parenting. They should have the same human rights, but we are different. As a woman, it is really important to form a healthy ego instead of constantly being what someone else needs you to be. And spiritually, the ego is also what protects the heart, right? Knowing who you are, what you want, and so what you don't want and where your boundaries are. Saying no to things. It's protecting the heart, it's protecting the body, it's protection. So when, chapter 1, when you have built a sense of safety, then you can focus on your identity. And within the focusing of the identity, it's important to lose all the layers that aren't yours. Because sometimes it's easier to know what you want and what you like when you first know what you don't want and what you don't like, because it cancels it out, right? And I think for years now I have realized what I don't want, and I've been kicking against it, and I've been screaming to let go. Don't make me do this. And I'm at this turning point where I'm not screaming no anymore. My no now is heard within the decisions I make for myself. I love this book and the way it's set up. A sense of safety, a sense of identity, and next up, recovering a sense of power. This week may find you dealing with unaccustomed to bursts of energy and sharp peaks of anger, joy, and grief. You are coming into your power as the illusory hold of your previously accepted limits is shaken. You will be asked to consciously experiment with spiritual open-mindedness. Yeah, I love the journey of this book. I think anyone who has needed to face themselves from an early age on has dealt with all these topics already. I love psychology. I loved going to therapy, even though it was really difficult and painful as well to open up and break open all the heavier things that have happened. And I think this book really encompasses it in a correct way. So for everyone who doesn't think therapy is the way for them and you want to do it alone, this is a really good book for anyone who just wants some change, or for anyone who wants to get to know themselves better, anyone who is already an artist and wants to evolve in that even more, or anyone who seeks more alignment in their life, or for anyone who knows that where they're at is just not it. This book can help. So, fuck it all. Fuck it all. See you next week. Bye.